Welcome back to Drola's Garage. Today I'm going to be back on the white Boxster. Stay tuned. After my last video, a few of you viewers commented about the bleeder valve, that I should run it with the bleeder valve open, turn it off, run it, turn it off, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so a couple days ago, I did just that. I cranked the car up, I let it get nice and hot. Hot, I mean, normal operating temperature, not hot. And with the bleeder valve open, and it seemed to be okay. I let it run and run and run. The temperature gauge never really went, not even halfway up, like where it always was, which is just south of the midway point. So I figured, let me try two more things before I declare this motor either done or not. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So I went to my, what would you call it, discount tool store, and I got one of these block testers. Test fluid, you put it up to here, to the line, and you pump some air into there with that little ball that I just dropped right here. You pump some air into it. God, I wish I had two hands. Anyway, you do that, and the fluid will either turn yellow or something like that, or it won't. If it detects CO2 in the coolant tank, it will change colors. So that will at least give me an indication of whether I have a leak. I don't think I have a cracked head per se, in the normal sense that you get mixture of oil and coolant, because there's absolutely no mixing of oil and coolant. So the only other thing I can think of is if there is a crack in the cylinder wall or something like that, that is causing combustion gases to get into the cooling system. Or at least that's the plan, to try those two things out. I need to change my clothes. I'm already starting to sweat. It's hot in here. Let's see. The thermostat here says it's not even 90 degrees. Usually it's 90 degrees in here. So whatever. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna put some work clothes on, and I'm gonna get this car in the air. Take the spark plugs out first, because I don't want to get it hot testing the block leakage thingamajig. Once the motor gets hotter, you can't take the spark plugs out, or at least it's not advisable to take the spark plugs out when the engine is warm. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Let me go change my clothes, and I'll be right back at it. Now that I got the car in the air, I'll show you something else I did the other day. I don't remember if it was yesterday before. So I took the panel off here, this cover. Let me unplug this. Anyway, I took this off, and I checked the coolant lines to see, what happened. So what I noticed was the upper one got really hot pretty fast, and the bottom one took a little while. At first I was thinking, okay, because it took a while, so I was like, okay, I have a blockage somewhere. The coolant is getting in, but it's not coming out. But after, I don't know how long, I didn't time it, but anyway, eventually the bottom one did get hot on both sides. Actually, this side started first, and then this side went ahead and also got hot. So I was checking here the rubber hoses, just checking everything, and eventually, yes, it did all get hot. So there is coolant flowing. Now, I am going to get back here, ouch, just hit my head on this tire, and get those spark plugs out. I know you can't see it, but I'm gonna get those spark plugs out, the coil packs and spark plugs, and go ahead and run that camera in there. I'm gonna see if I can improve the lighting situation so that you guys can see something. I can't even see it because it's pitch black, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So let's see what happens. And there we have the coil packs, 1, 2, and then the third one is back there. Fortunately, they look like they're relatively easy to get to, at least on this side. Let's see this side, even easier. 1, 2, and 3. So let me work on those. Let me get those out, and stick the camera up in there. Let's see what we find. And as you can see, the first side is out. That was relatively painless. I just need to pull the spark plugs out of there now. That'll be next, after I do the other side. At least the coil packs. You know, come to think of it, had I done the leak detector test first, I wouldn't need to do this. The problem is, once I do the leak detector, the engine's gonna be warm, and then I can't do this. So I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of pulling the cart before the horse here, but it's too late now. In the number 2 cylinder, I found what could possibly be a crack. It's hard to tell. You know, there's a couple of marks that are straight, you know, piston ring marks or whatever, you know, that those are straight. But this one kind of, you know, little squiggly line. I'll show you guys the video right now of that. It's hard to see. There's a lot of glare. When I put the light in there with the camera, there's a lot of glare inside the cylinder, you know, the light reflecting off the cylinder walls. But I don't know. I'm afraid also that when I put the cylinder, the combustion gas tester thingamajig, it's going to not read that, because that is going directly into the cylinder, which will then be burned off in the exhaust, completely independent of the cooling system. So I don't know, and I don't think that the cooling system would register that leak. So the only way really to know is going to be to drive the car and see if I lose coolant. You know, make sure that the reservoir is full, and if I drive the car, you know, whatever distance, all of a sudden I get that check coolant level, you know, light on the dash, then I know I have a problem. Sucks. I don't know. I'm gonna check the rest. I just turned the motor over a little bit more. I could only check right now 2, 3, and 6, I believe, because of the way the pistons were positioned inside the motor. So I spun it a little bit. Let me check it some more and see what else I can find. That didn't look good either. That was the number 6 cylinder. You can see there's one kind of a squiggly line going along the liner, and then there's another one kind of going at an angle. I don't know. Let me check the others. That was the number 1 cylinder. Also looked like a crack. It may not be. I don't know. It might be some kind of imperfection. But you know, I don't think that the inside of the cylinder, the liner, the whatever you want to call that, would not have casting imperfections. That should be smooth. It should have cross hatchings or whatever, but there should not be a squiggly line going in random directions. That was number 4. It also looked like it had a squiggly line. Let's check number 5 and then number 6. I think I've seen enough. It is what it is. I'm not very optimistic about it. I try to be optimistic, but after seeing all those, I don't know if they're cracks, they look like cracks in the cylinder walls. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and put it all back together. I'm gonna put the spark plugs back in it, put the coil packs back in it. I'm gonna crank it up. I'm gonna let it get warm, and I'm gonna stick the thing in there, the coolant, whatever combustion tester thingamajig, and let's see what happens. Otherwise, the only thing that's left to do is to take it for a drive and see if I'm losing coolant. It could be that just the time it sits here, it doesn't really get warm enough to let those cracks open up enough to escape through the exhaust. So the only thing left to do is to take it for a drive, and I'm gonna have to drive it until I either have no loss of coolant or I do, and then I'll know the fate of this motor. The next part of this test is to start the engine and let it get warm. Once it's warm, I got to get this test fluid stuff here with the little doohickey here, and let's see what happens. Let's see. I don't know. Let's find out. But I have to start it and let it get warm without the radiator cap on. So it'll take a few minutes to warm it up. All right, she's running. Let's get it warmed up. All right, let's see. This should turn yellow. It's not turning yellow. The temp is at 180. Should be hot enough. Huh. So I've been trying this for a little bit now, and I still don't see it turning yellow. Now, at least this is my logic, if the cracks are in the cylinder walls, that means that if they expand and it loses coolant through there, that coolant is going to go directly out of the exhaust. It's not going to go into the engine there because it's not going to mix. Now, let's try this. I gave the car a quick wash. I didn't even dry it. I'm gonna go and hop on the highway now on 995 and let it dry off. I came to the conclusion there's really not much more I can do at this point. I gotta drive it and see if it tells me to refill the coolant tank. Obviously, this one is always ready to go. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drive it and see what happens. The pessimistic side of me tells me when it gets hot enough, it's gonna start blowing smoke out the exhaust, and that's probably coolant leaking out through the cylinder walls. The optimistic side of me tells me nothing's gonna happen. And as long as it doesn't tell me to add coolant, the coolant's not going anywhere. So all is good in the world. So I'll report back and see what happens here with this. I told you guys yesterday when I was messing with the car that I would report back and let you know what happened. So here's the deal. I drove the car about 40 miles or so, up and down I-95 through some neighborhoods or whatnot. I got on it a little bit hard, here and there, and so far nothing. I checked the coolant level this morning before I left home. It was the same place as I was yesterday when I left here. So fingers crossed that the engine is okay. It's a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting the engine to be okay at all. And now it's hot outside, and the temperature needle didn't go. It didn't even make it halfway up. It was more closer to the 180, and then when I was sitting in some traffic, it went up a little, just a touch. And then as soon as I started moving again, it went back down to 180 or just above 180. So on that aspect, it's good. And I guess that's about all I have to report then. I wish I could tell you more. I almost wanted it to be broken because that would continue the saga, and also I could get that doubt out of my head. But now the car is running great, and it looks great too. I don't know why this little car looks so cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. The whole series here, the saga with the 986. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to keep driving it. I will do a flush. Yeah, I'll drive it a couple more days. I'll do a flush and put some proper coolant in there. Right now, there's maybe 10% coolant and 90% water. So I'm going to go ahead and remedy that. But first, I'm going to drive it before I go through the hassle and the expense of putting 3 gallons of coolant or whatever it takes. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have not already done so, please hit the like button and the subscribe and leave me any comments. Drola964 on Instagram. And thank you for watching.